UA 21 and UA 63.
Oh yeah.
Currently just my UA1, but hopefully the 63 passes. So
Right on. Oh, so you already took it?
yeah,
Right on. So it passed visual or?
pass visual, and we just got to go through X-ray.
Gotcha. Hell yeah, dude. You look a little nervous when you answer. You're like, hopefully, man. But
That's a nuclear cert right there. That's 63.
what is that? I really don't know.
It's a super coupon. It's a TIG root and a TIG hot pass, and it's low high all the way out. It's a long test. I took that test twice. Busted my first time. Took it second time. Passed on that go. But it's about a 5-hour test. I mean, you're in there, a lot of grinding, a lot of metal getting thrown in there. That's a big bevel to fill. So
You're talking about 2 3/4 OD pipe with at least 5/8 wall thickness that you're welding.
yeah, you're burnt and you're beat by the time that test is over, for sure.
Damn. All right. I don't know, man. That's crazy. Just to think you're sitting in there 5 hours just for an opportunity to get the certification, for an opportunity to go out and use it. You know, that's a lot of work, man. That's very admirable. I'm just fascinated by guys who stick to it and get it done, because you've been so how many years total? You said about 3 years welding total, and you're sitting here with that test you just knocked out, past visual, and you're going. That's badass. You're a badass. Got 2 badasses in front of you. That's awesome, man. And I don't know, man. I admire hard work. You know, the consistency, getting in there, doing it every day. So I know that's one of those things where it's just like you're sitting in the booth. You're like, all right, it's go time, but knowing what it takes to lead up to that, what it takes to get in there.
Yeah.
I mean, they say that you welders have to have some kind of mental issues to be in there, right? So I think you got to be stubborn and hard-headed, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
And single.
And single. Yeah. What about you? You single, Cody?
No, I'm not. I'm married, so it's working right now.
You got any kids?
No, I don't. Not at the moment.
What about you, Chandler?
No.
No.
At least none that he knows about.
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go. Yeah. Keep it on the down low.
Hell yeah. What do you guys do for fun, man?
Well, when I'm not working, I guess, and just taking time, sitting at the house, relaxing. I mean, I love to hunt and fish. Unfortunately, moving out here, there's not a whole lot of it.
Where'd you move from?
South Dakota.
Oh, okay.
So there's a ton of it out there, but you know, coming down here, you can do it. It's a drive, to go out there. But I mean, that's kind of what I do.
Let's see. Definitely out here in Arizona, I'd like to go 4-wheeling whenever I can. 4-wheeling and recreational shooting.
There you go. Hell yeah, dude. With what kind of stuff do you have to turn down to be in that weld lab to get better? What kind of stuff, like on a daily basis when you're in there getting better? I mean, I'm sure there's drinks after work or whatever that you have to turn down to get in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably the biggest one is family time. You know, even if you don't have a family, it's personal time. I mean, you spend 10 hours at least working, and then depending on how long your commute is, and then you come down here, you spend another 4 hours. You go home. I mean, you got maybe 2 hours to yourself. And you're gonna eat, shower, and crash. I mean, so it's having the ability to kind of put your personal life on the back burner. For as long as you're willing to let it take till you get those certs to get you to a spot where you want to be. So,
do you get addicted to that though? Because I mean, you're talking about all these certs. I'm sure you're working on another one.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm constantly like, if I'm not down here, I mean, you're on YouTube or something, watching videos of me, because I take in the information I can get. I mean, and I'll ask anybody. I don't care who it is, what their status is, if they're a welder, if they're a fitter, hell, if they're a plumber, I'll take their advice on welding. I mean, I take it all in, and if it works for me, it works for me. And that's something I was told when I was a lot younger, that everybody's got something to say. At some point, you'll use what they say that'll benefit you. Okay. Don't matter where you're at.
Best advice I ever got: don't let the rod stick.
That's it. Was there a clicking point for you, like a point where it just like, I like this, or do you just kind of gravitate towards it and flow with it from day one?
Being in high school, when I first started, and I just like I said, I didn't think much of it, but in the back of my mind, there was just kind of like a little voice, just popping up to say this is something I could see myself doing. And we had a little project. The instructor at my high school had me build a little canopy for greenhouses, so that was like my actual first time welding. But I don't know what it is. Just the feeling of the puddle, carrying that puddle, the hotness, the fluidity of it, the way that it sounds when it's burning through that pipe, the way that 7018 sounds. It's almost like it's therapeutic because once that hood goes down, that you're not, all you're thinking about is just, what you're doing, what you love, what you enjoy to do. And it's a different world, different state of mind, when you flip that hood down and you're engaged into your work, it's something I can't really explain. I don't know if it's something I could explain to somebody who, sits at an office and stares at a computer all day, or does something else that doesn't work with their hands. But it's definitely, I don't know, just something that draws you into it. It's you can't help but to want to go for more afterwards.
So you kind of get into your own welder flow state, and that's addicting for you.
Yeah.
It's almost how someone would describe art. That's fucking. So let me ask you this: Are you considering getting a mullet to increase your weld skill? Yeah. Cody just jumped on.
You have to. That's the only way to weld.
I guess I could start today, huh?
Hell yeah, bro. Nah, man, I just had to throw that in there. But that Zen state you're talking about, dude, you're getting me all fired up. I enjoy getting into a flow state, anything I can do. And one thing I noticed when I tried welding a little bit in there is I slept a little better. I mean, do you guys notice any problems with your eyes, or is that, I don't know if it's healthy or not, because I liked it. I liked the way I was driving home, and I just felt good. I don't know why, but it just felt good. I just felt clear-headed. It was pretty cool.
Well, there's definitely some nights where you get off and your eyes are a little dry and itchy, and discomfort. But, for the most part, just throwing some eye drops and you're good to go.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I guess kind of like piggyback, off the question you were asking Chandler as far as, what draws you into it. I'll be honest, I never saw myself welding for a career. I thought it would be something I would do in the garage for fun or, to repair stuff. And it was actually my dad who he's the one that kind of pushed me to do it, because for the longest time I was going to follow him. I was going to be a cop, and they took kind of a turn in 2008, and he goes, "Why don't you pick up that that welding career and see what you can do with it?" And I just, on a whim, I hopped on a plane, flew out to that tech school in South Dakota, and started. And it just, to me, it just came naturally. I mean, I was just able to pick it up and just go and make it happen. And so I think that in and of itself kind of hooked me, and it made me want to pursue it even more, made me dig deeper into kind of the process and just how everything works and the different things you can do with it and the avenues you can take it. And it brought me to this point where I'm at today. And, I'm actually glad that that's what happened. If I could go back, I probably would have started a lot earlier, in my career, instead of sitting around and just not really doing a whole lot of anything. But, I mean, everybody's got their own path to walk down, and, that was the way I ended up going, and it worked out. I'm glad I'm here and got a goal in mind, so that's all that matters.
There seems to be like this dichotomy, I guess you'd call it, of being confident but also being a good student. And in the weld lab, you always have different instructors through the summer or whatever, someone trying to teach you, giving you a new avenue to, you're talking about all the advice, soak it up. And they could be giving you all this information. At some point, you got to know what's working for you, but you also got to be able to receive that information, not basically make someone feel like their advice is falling on deaf ears. So, I mean, what would be the biggest advice for someone trying to go down that weld path? To an apprentice coming in, they think they want to weld, what would be maybe not the biggest advice, but a few pointers to them to stick to it?
I mean, I'm a firm believer. You take in what you can, and always that person that's coming in there, he's taking his or her time to kind of dump some knowledge on you, whether you think it's going to work or not. that's something that you're going to have to find on your own. So it's one of those things where, you take it, and I mean, you don't have to try it right then and there, but at some point in time, give it a shot, because what works for me may not work for Chandler. And that's the cool thing about this specific part of our trade, is that welding is like a fingerprint. There's a lot of times that you can look at a cap or a root pass on a weld, and guys that know each other real well, that have been welding with each other, will look at it and go, okay, I know that's Chandler's weld. I mean, it leaves a fingerprint. Yeah, there's just a style that comes with your skill that shows that. It's like, oh, I know who welded that. It's kind of one of those cool things. But
the biggest thing, in my opinion, that you need to look out for when you're getting into welding or you're starting out is the moment that you think that you're better than you actually are, or you're better than everybody else. That's when you begin to start moving backwards. And I think what's harder than actually being able to produce quality welds is being able to keep a clear mentality that you're there to learn, you're going to make mistakes. You have to make mistakes in order to get better, and you have to have a level of discipline where even though you might feel the shittiest of that day, out of the whole week, you still need to get yourself to get in there and do what you need to do, and whether you suck now, as long as you're consistent and you stay on it, you stay on top of it, eventually you're going to see progress, and that mentality is what backs that up 100%. Without the attitude, without the clear attitude, you'll either fall out sooner or later, and I think that's what a lot of people starting out need to realize is they got to have the attitude first and foremost.
Mm-hmm. Definitely stay humble, because it's like you were saying. I mean, as soon as you get to a point where you think you're God's gift to welding, I mean, life has a way of knocking you down and putting you in that spot like, no, you're not. And that's the thing, is in any knowledge that you get, pass it down to the next guy. We're all in this together. We're all here to learn, and to take that skill to the next level. We're here to build one another up. And, it's hard to have somebody that maybe gets that arrogant attitude because, oh, yeah, I got all these certs or whatever, to come in and help another person. Nobody wants to be around that guy. So stay that guy that's humble and that's willing to go out and help other people, and you'll be surprised at how far that takes you, just that alone.
Hell yeah. What you're talking about, Chandler, you're talking about coming in even if you're not feeling it that day. You're feeling bad, and one thing I noticed with work, I also do martial arts, and in jiu-jitsu, you can't see your progress every day. It's a skill. You got to develop muscle memory, and then once you develop that, you don't got to think about it too much. You can focus on other stuff, and it starts growing, but you don't see it every day. And I noticed that I learned the most. I had the best days, or an epiphany moment on those days where I showed up when I didn't want to be there. Mm-hmm. And it's just pretty cool universally how that can kind of translate, because you're saying it's something that takes time to really get better at, and it takes a consistency, because if you're not consistent but you're still showing up, you're still just as shitty 2 months down the road than as you was 2 months ago. And that, I don't know, dude, I just wanted to add on that, because that's really the core of it, is just showing up every day and not really comparing yourself to others in a egotistical way, but comparing yourself like, all right, I want to be that slick. I want to be slick as that guy, or I want to be, busting out as many welds as that guy, and kind of giving yourself a little goal to reach, And you're not always going to reach those goals. You're talking about busting out on test, right?
Yeah.
And coming back, and that's what separates the men's from the boys, is just rebounding from that failure. So the so-called failure, right? But that's just, who has the balls to go out there and test in front of Gunny anyways, right? That guy, how critical is that guy in looking at your test?
I'd say he's critical, but Gary Daly, he's
definitely a one-up on him for sure.
He's the guy you want to look out for.
Yeah.
He's a good guy, don't get me wrong. He's hard.
You need that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And after talking with people, I understand the reason, behind him being in that spot. And a lot of guys get angry at him. But, the reality is it only makes you a better person and a better welder, because it brings you to that point where, you know what, it wasn't perfect. That's why he shot it down. And it's time for me to make it perfect. And it puts you in that mindset already that's what it's got to be in order to get sent out that door, for them to x-ray it. So,
Hell yeah, better get shot down here and a chance to re-weld it.